Hey guys, this is Pato Award, and you're listening to Indie Sports Podcast. And or what is that? Is that what it's called? Yeah,
That's
right.
that's perfect.
Or did I say something wrong?
No, trust me, man. I mean, I can edit all this. It's no
What
problem.
is
You
it?
can
What is it again? Indie Sports Podcast or what?
The
the
Indie Sports Car Podcast.
Indie Sports Cars Podcast.
Nice. Yeah, if you want to try it again, go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Pato Award, and you're listening to the Indie Sports Car Podcast.
Hey, this is Will Power, and you're listening to the Indy Sports Car Podcast.
This is Oliver Askew, and you're listening to the Indy Sports Car Podcast.
Welcome, ISCP fans, to another episode of the Indie Sports Car Podcast. He said we were live.
Might as well say. Well, I mean, we didn't start it off that way last week.
Well, you hesitated, so.
No, we're starting now. Question mark. yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
So we're live. Yay. Welcome, everyone.
We are live.
I don't know if I like doing it live, to tell you the truth.
You're just
Yeah, it's a little
a
hiccup.
little different than just, hitting the record button and posting it later.
yeah. Plus, we can go in and edit, which we never do anyway. So I don't know why this should be any different here. Really.
Oh, yeah, no, I guess. I don't know.
So Jared. Yes, on Skype, Ollie. Like every other, what's the one driver that's been on the most on the show? I think his name's Oliver Askew. He's like on Skype? Question mark? Yeah, buddy.
Yep, well, let's say hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
And Missy. It's already said hi, introduce her. I'm here.
Missy has her own camera this time.
Interesting fact, it looks like might have a member of Oliver's family here on Hot Mic, Pernilla Askew.
Oh, I'll let Ollie know that was it Pernilla?
Pernilla?
Pernilla.
Mhm. Like
P-E. Let me spell it because I don't have it up on my phone yet because I'm texting
Oh.
right now.
Pernilla.
P-E-R-N. By the way, thank you for joining, Mrs. Askew. I don't know if it's sister or his mom, but still, Mrs. Askew. Respect. So I can spell. Askew is waiting, Ollie. I love messing with him.
Yes. And my buddy Irv from work is also joining us, as well as Greg from last week.
Gregorio. Greg, I hope everything's going good, buddy. I just want to say, Greg, hope everything's going good for you, buddy. We're all feeling it, brother.
And as we await our special guest, Mr. Oliver Askew from Arrow Schmidt Peterson, or Arrow McLaren Schmidt. Yes, that long name team that I haven't quite memorized yet.
Good job, Jared.
Yes, I failed.
Good job.
Anyways, we did actually have a race over the weekend that we're hoping to talk to Oliver about. He did actually all right. Finished worse off than he started. Looks like he was involved in a number of incidents, as were a lot of drivers. But that is what it is with iRacing, as anyone who does iRacing would know.
I've been iRacing 10 years. I still haven't watched a single one. I don't know what it is about, video games and all that.
Well, at least nobody rage quitted in ours, as opposed to the NASCAR one.
Are you shocked? Honestly, I'm not shocked.
No, it was pretty funny to see. It just really brought out a lot of the negative aspects to
Well,
iRacing.
Well, in NASCAR, man, I mean, that's why I never raced NASCAR and iRacing, because there's really no racecraft to be had there. Just saying. Or respect, for that matter.
Yeah. When you don't treat it as if it's real, then you're going to behave as if it's not real.
Exactly. So, I mean, well, so what did you see from the young guys on the art? And you sent me a picture about what was it, USF 2000 and Pro Mazda 2000?
Yes, they released a rendering of a couple pictures of the iRacing versions of them on track. So I would assume within probably next season on iRacing, or possibly even sooner. But my guess is probably next season, because they are talking about reshuffling the divisions in what cars are in what series. So it sounds like it will be a next season release for the Tatis USF 2000 and Pro Mazda versions. Same chassis, just upgraded 100 horsepower, aerodynamics, and the like.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. Yeah, because I was on iRacing. I'm like, where is it? I think Jared's a liar. I don't see it here. I still see the F3 and whatever.
Yeah, it was a tweet that the iRacing Twitter account put out a couple days ago of the rendering, and then actually, when you log into the iRacing main page, a little further down in the news, it was an April Fool's, not really an April Fool's, but they announced it on April 1st that the two cars would be released.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can't see who's on and who's not right now. Let's see here. So, anyways, so what's new? What's going on in the world of sports right now as we wait for Oliver? This happens all the time. When I told Jared just to start it at 8, so you guys can see like what we do for like the first 15 minutes before a show, is basically screw everything up before we get it all together. So it sounds like we know what we're doing. But you think after 5 years we would? Always trying something different.
Yeah.
Always trying something
Yeah,
different.
I put together some new stuff today and finally getting all the kinks worked out. I'm sure you guys can see where Ollie is supposed to be on screen. He isn't quite yet.
I think I might have. I think I might have gave him a side step like, huh? What do you mean? How's he know Pernella? I was like, right on, Pernella Askew is waiting, Ollie. LOL. He went, what? I was like, Jared, what did you tell his PR rep exactly? Yeah. There's an issue with my Skype. Probably an update.
Yeah,
no Microsoft. You know, all good.
Well, as Gregorio just said, you know that I know that Frank still doesn't know.
And I never will know, Greg. And the day I do know is the day this show ends.
But, they did also announce a reshuffling of the schedule for this year, with the cancellation of Detroit, which I'm sure, Frank, you're just so broken up about.
Dude, I was thrilled, and like the doubleheader at IMS, I'm all about it. I'd rather go to see a road race at IMS, 2 of them.
Yeah.
Than
just the concept, the idea of racing at Indy in October. I mean, if it was a normal year, when I could see this catching on, where you have the month of May, and oh boy, we had somebody joining us here.
Mr. Askew.
Yes. Okay, one second.
Getting a little bit of feedback on you, Jared.
Hey, do you guys hear me?
Yep.
There he is.
You got me there?
Yep. What's up, Ollie?
Oh, sorry about that.
All good, buddy. Okay. I think it's coming back on Ollie, is it? Or is that?
Oh,
nope.
Yep.
Nope, that's Ollie. Getting a little bit of feedback on you, buddy.
Say it again.
You're getting a little bit of feedback on you. Like I can hear myself talking.
Okay, one sec.
You got it. So yeah, Jared, how's been the podcasting going since from the journalism side of the last 5 years? What are you thinking?
What was the question?
Said, how are you liking podcasting opposed to being just a
Oh,
journalist?
that can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. And
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
And I can't hear myself.
Yeah,
which is
it's
even awesome.
It's definitely a different discipline, and it's a good complement to the journalism. I'm excited to get back to the track to be able to talk to some people and write up some stuff and be able to do some of this live kind of, maybe not just live, but some sort of podcasting element from the track too. Right. Especially after like qualifying, stuff like that, where we can possibly get to talk to some interesting people.
Like who, Missy?
That would be. You prefer Oliver, or I'm so used to calling you Ollie. I don't know if I can call you Oliver.
No, he's an IndyCar driver now. He's Oliver.
I know he's an.
He's a grown man.
I know he has made it to IndyCar, which we said back. When did we? How long ago did we meet you, Ollie? 4.
This must have been 2016, 17.
Yeah, when you were in USF 2000.
He wasn't even in it yet. It was a week before St. Pete. Rob Howden said, "You know who you need on? Oliver Askew." And I went, "Who?"
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Well, you know what? I know better than to question Rob Howden." So I said, "You bet, Rob." And then we had you on, and the rest, as they say, is history. And this appearance, Oliver, I'm sorry. Don't take it.
Yeah, you can call him whatever you want. No worries.
I'm just kidding with you, buddy. This will be basically you are now the most you've come on the most times as a guest, and from USF 2000 on to Pro Mazda on to Indy Lights, bigger trophy after bigger trophy after bigger trophy on to IndyCar. Just like I said, but you were always too humble and bashful, like, "Oh, guy, shucks up, oh, God, oh, golly gee." But see, just saying, Joe. So I know I speak for Missy and Jared and myself. We just want to give you a round of applause, brother. You made it. And
yeah.
And
thank you.
And I mean,
yeah, thanks for having me.
And just the speed at which you made it, how fast you've come in. Just you haven't even been in racing for all that long in your life compared to other drivers you see coming up through the road to Indy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's obviously the scholarship system's been pretty crucial to my development, and that kind of forces me to move up as fast as possible, forces me to win championships. And I'm also on the older side of drivers who have come up through USF 2000, Pro Mazda, Indy Lights. So and I've been racing since I was 7 years old, so I think the karting experience kind of helped speed up the process. Obviously, I'd be more prepared than I am now if I were to spend some more time in the junior levels. But yeah, I'm excited for this year for sure. Hopefully, we can get going here in the next couple months. But yeah, these circumstances, I don't think anybody's been through something like this before. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't think of another driver that's gone and basically just dominated. I mean, I don't want to say Pato, but I mean, when he was here, he dominated. But it was he. I mean, he's got a whole other story that merged, and it's amazing how you were just like, "Zip, I'm here," and Pato went around the world 14 times, and now he's next to you, and
right.
It's pretty much the two youngest probably about the two most talented, talented youngest drivers on the same team, which McLaren, Arrow, SP, just wow, Ollie. I mean, a lot of people are happy enough to go into to Juncos or something, but not that Juncos is a bad team. No, I'm not saying that, but McLaren, the likes of Fernando Alonso and all the other famous people that have been with McLaren throughout the years through F1, and now they come over here, and I mean, just. Shut up, Alexa. I didn't say. Did I say Alexa? She just. I don't know what she just said. Anyway, Alexa screwed me up, Ali. But go ahead. I mean, gloat a little bit, man. How did the whole McLaren deal come together, and just what does it mean to you, man?
Oh man. Well, we were approached and in talks with multiple teams, even from USF 2000 and 2017. I mean, we didn't just start talking to IndyCar teams at the end of my Indy Lights season. So we built relationships with a few, and the most appealing option was to race with Aaron McLaren SP. So, like you said, the name is extremely historic and very prestigious, and I'm very happy to be part of a driver on the team when McLaren comes back to IndyCar. So the hype and the knowledge around the team, like inside the team with the personnel and the new people that we're bringing in and the technologies that we're bringing in from the Formula One side is pretty awesome to see. Obviously, I've never been at this level before. I've never had more than 3 or 4 people work on my car at once. Now there's 7 or 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've enjoyed the preseason so far. It was a little anticlimactic there heading into St. Pete, but that's how many different sports series and racing series around the world got shut down on that weekend. It just so happened to be my first IndyCar weekend. So just doing what we can here now with iRacing and just using this time and finding the silver lining and trying to make the most out of this extra time here so that I can be even more ready when we go racing.
One of the big things that I've always heard about coming up through the ranks is having to work with your engineer. Like, you go from having maybe one for the whole team to having not just your own engineer, but you have your own set of mechanics, everything else. How has that evolution been through the off season in the shop?
Yeah, so I've moved to Indianapolis now. I'm here now. I moved in November, pretty much right after I signed, and I think it's important for me to build a relationship as quick as possible around the mechanics and the engineers and the personnel. It's a very young group of people. Blair Perschbacher is my lead engineer, along with Mike Reggio, who has, both of them have a tremendous amount of experience in IndyCar, and Mike has been running Indy Lights the past couple of years. So Blair has worked with Ericsson, Wickens, and I'm drawing a blank here, but the rookies that have come to race with Schmidt-Peterson in the past. So this isn't new to him, working with a new driver heading into the series. So, but like I said, there's a lot of new faces around the team. It's not just me that's having to learn different names. It's most of the team that's kind of re-energized with not anyone. Not many people were replaced. I mean, a lot of the Schmidt-Peterson personnel is still there. It's just we took on a lot of new people, and people from McLaren as well.
And
Mikhailation, that's the name I was looking for. Sorry.
Yeah, Kyle. He was quite the interesting talent to come over from Russia there for a couple of years.
Is he still in the WC right now? Or I haven't heard anything about him. Actually,
I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. But to move on there, well, let's just talk about the iRacing from over the weekend there in quote unquote Barber. Kind of walk us through that. How would you say your weekend was?
In Barber, it was more difficult than Watkins. It was harder for me to find the pace there. We had, if I had put together my optimum lap in qualifying, we would have been top 5 because not everyone put in their best performance in that session. So I was kind of disappointed about that in these races, and especially at that track. It's very important to start up front. So the further back you are, the easier it is to get collected and involved in an accident, as you guys have seen. So we had pace we were in the position to finish 7th I was running behind Dixon for a while, and he was doing a really good job of being quick in areas where I was setting him up to pass. Basically, there's 2 areas on the track. It's turn 16 and turn 5, the hairpin and the carousel. And he was really fast in those 2 areas, so I sat behind him for over 10 laps, and he let Felix by, which is natural. And then I got frustrated and tried to throw it in turn 17 and lost a couple spots because of it. And then that's when I was running behind Colton and Pato, I think around in 8th, 9th. And then Pato spun out in front of me. I was collected. The front wing got taken off, and then it was pretty much downhill from there. So,
oh no, is that teammates on McLaren taking each other out? Is that what I just heard?
What's that?
I'm just kidding around.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, it was just a racing incident. Just happened to be our 2 cars, but
I was just joking around.
we were running right together, and he lost it going up the hill, and in turn 15, 14, I think it was. So, but that's how these races are. I mean, it's a lot of times you can run around in the back and stay out of trouble, and if you can finish on the lead lap without any damage, you're going to be in the top 10 pretty easy. So I think I've learned a couple lessons, and I don't come from iRacing. I've just literally, this is my very first sim that I'm sitting in front of now that I built last night, and I was borrowing someone else's. I was running with Symmetric Labs in South Florida, which is a professional simulator. But I've never had an iRacing account. I've never had my own sim, so I'm learning as we go here, like many other drivers.
So
how hard has it been to adjust to it? I mean, with your rig that you're building at home, do you have motion built into your rig, or are you just kind of flying by the force feedback in the wheel, and that's really about it?
Yeah, and in iRacing, it's a trend across all cars. You kind of drive off the front tires, and there's not to be quick. You don't have much yaw in the car, so motion isn't essential. It does help, but the biggest thing is having a good engine, a steering engine. So I have a pretty nice one here, and then it's just a Sparco chassis that it's doing the job so far. So we'll see. I'm happy to test this out this weekend at Michigan rather than a road course. I think it'll take me a little bit to get used to a road course for this setup right now. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
You certainly don't have to worry about braking at Michigan,
right?
Except when you have to pit.
Yeah, like honestly, IndyCar, oval, iRacing. That's all I ever do. It's got to be the most fun on iRacing. Period. You're gonna have a blast, man. Really.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. It's not that I've never wanted to run iRacing or have my own sim. I just never got around to it. So I expect to spend the majority of my time on this thing over the next couple weeks.
Do you happen to have anyone from the team there to spot you during the race, especially on an oval? I mean, you can kind of rely on the iRacing spotter, but in reality, it would be good practice with the team's actual spotter to have someone there to help you.
Yeah, that's a conversation we had today. Actually, I will have my personal spotter with me for this weekend, and then for the rest of the races. With Texas Motor Speedway now that so far scheduled to be our first race, I think it's important to kind of get the lingo going, and this is a perfect tool to get that done.
Never thought of that. Great.
And also, there is software that works with iRacing that we use in the real car as well, like data software and so stuff that the engineers use. And I've downloaded that now on my computer, and it runs with iRacing, and they can actually see it uploads real-time data to my engineers.
Isn't that the McLaren software? I believe there was a McLaren data acquisition software that worked with iRacing.
Because there's also was it VRS or VLR or something like that? virtual racing.
There's a bunch of different
Yeah,
ones. I just wouldn't be surprised because I remember there was a McLaren product that they would use that.
Now, like, are the setups for the cars like you like you're not sitting there for 5 hours before the race, like, okay, camber, tink, tink, tink. Like, are all the setups just like fixed? That's one thing
Yeah,
I
they're
know.
actually fixed setups for all the cars, but that is actually a good question. I don't know if Oliver has done any correlation between setups in the iRacing car versus real life.
I mean, Ollie, don't even bother with the Indycar. There's way too much going on. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I mean, unless it's a skip barber car and I can do like air pressure, I'm not bothering with it. I'll just download something else. Someone else did it. Missy, you're quiet.
Just listening.
Well, I mean, talk. I'm sure Oliver would like to hear from you. He hasn't heard from you in a while.
Now, I just want to know, how do you, I guess, I don't know how to word this question, like stay focused on the actual real season? Because you're going to be getting in the car eventually instead of just, I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm not a video game person. I don't really care for iRacing. So Sim, whatever.
Did you say video game?
Okay, sim, sorry, sim.
Yeah, that's
Sim.
better.
So I just don't know, like, how do you stay focused on, there is going to be a season going on eventually, and how do you, like, keep prepared for that, I guess, is what I want to say, to keep focused on the actual season that's going to be happening eventually instead of just doing sim racing.
You're going to have to repeat the question, Missy.
Oh.
It was a good question, though. Yeah, sorry.
You guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Hey, sorry, my whole building just lost power because of the storm coming through. So
Oh, wow.
You too.
lost Wi-Fi for a bit, but I'm back on.
No, I was just asking Oliver, how are you staying, like, in the mentality of, like, being, I know I said this so badly, so this is going to be a terrible way I'm saying this, but to stay focused on the actual real season, like getting into a real IndyCar instead of just doing sim racing, virtual reality, whatever you want to call it. Like, how do you stay focused on, what you need to do in the actual car versus the, fake sim racing?
The fake car.
Well, I think just knowing that with the extra time, I'm even more so expected to get in the car and do well, because for me, the only thing keeping me from performing at my best right now is just the physicality of it. And because we're not in the car so much, not as much as I would if I was racing karts full time right now. I'd be every weekend, almost every day. Because of that, it's hard to train, for the car. But because all these guys have been racing IndyCar for so long, it's a bit easier for them. So just knowing that, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and there's pressure from the team as well to hit the ground running. And I just look at it as more time to be ready when it counts. So
and you
yeah,
guys
you gotta
aren't
look,
actually
gotta look at it.
practicing, right, in the cars. You're not testing.
No,
There's none of that.
It's called
right?
quarantine, miss.
Yeah, I know. Oh, is Indiana that bad? I know
it's the
we're
entire
not.
country.
I mean, I know Jersey is, because we're next to those New Yorkers, but
Oh wow.
what? They brought it all over here.
I wouldn't blame it on the New Yorkers.
Well, that's how. Well, never mind. Anyway, moving on.
It's nobody's fault. Well, it is somebody's fault, but they're not in this country right now.
Anyway.
Well, we'll finish up with one last question for Ollie, and we'll let him get out of there. I mean, his building doesn't have any power. I came back on.
Yeah, Jared.
Yeah, actually, so this is the first week I've needed to turn the AC on, because I just got here a couple days ago, and when I moved in, it was in November, so I never had to run the AC, and now my AC isn't working, so we're trying to fix that at the moment. But yeah, and then there's a massive torrential downpour outside right now.
Nothing worse than no AC.
Oh.
Just one real quick question, though, Ollie. I mean, I know, okay, so the sim, you still got the arrow screen and everything, but do you think it's going to be a big hindrance to you coming up, or what?
Say that again. Sorry.
I said, so iRacing went ahead and updated the sim to put the arrow screen in. So you are still racing with the arrow screen around. So it's kind of, I don't know, like I found it a little bit hindrance, like, but what do I know? But my point being is, I'm sure you tested in the car before St. Pete and everything. Now the arrow screen, you racing with the arrow screen around you compared to, say the Indy Lights car, and the cars are pretty close together. Let's be fair. So, what's your thoughts on the arrow screen versus no arrow screen?
I lost power
Unless we
again.
lost them.
Yeah, we lost him again.
Well, or IndyCar pulled the plug. Nobody talk about the arrow screen. I don't know. One of the two. But, yeah, just want to thank Ollie, braving the storm coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a good friend of the show. Glad we're able to have him on, even during torrential downpours and power outages. And hopefully we'll still be able to have him on later on this season once we actually get on track.
Yes, and you can see him driving in the number 7, right? He's driving the number 7 for Arrow McLaren SP this year.
Yep.
Eventually, they will get in the cars, the actual real car.
And what's the first race now? Texas? Is that
Texas?
What a great track to start fresh, where your neck is just gonna be killing you. I mean, don't you kind of build up to that? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, get your time in the gym.
Yeah.
Your neck.
Do those Tony Kanaan neck, exercise while you watch TV.
Yeah, it's every day something changes, but looking forward to Texas. The double headers now at Iowa, Laguna Seca, and the double header on the Indy Road Course just split up over 4th of July. Literally, the 4th of July is first race, and then October, you said 3rd?
Yeah.
I don't have my sheet.
Yeah, October 3rd.
But yeah, that will be a good fun time. It'll probably be a little bit colder down in Indianapolis, but still it'll be interesting to see how they can pull off. It is also on the same bill as, think of it as Intercontinental GT. There was something else on the schedule that weekend.
No, I mean it's GT, so that's cool.
Yeah, some sort of sports cars on that weekend.
All about GT sports cars. Oh, that's cool.
This is the Indy Sports Car podcast, so
yeah, because we used to like IMSA when we first named this podcast. Yeah, she plays with her car all the time. I'll just walk by and she's doing that.
Yeah, it'll be on the same weekend. The Indianapolis 8-hour race, Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli, with its North American counterpart, the GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS.
So you're saying it's just Pirelli GT? It's the Pirelli.
Yes, a very long renamed Pirelli GTs.
Well, they have very long named classes. I mean, Pirelli.
They do. Very many classes and very long names.
I don't know what I'm looking at when they race. They are just so confusing.
I think it's so that everybody can be on the podium. Because if you have like 10 classes and 30 cars, and in theory, everybody can finish on the podium.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I don't know. All I know is that like when Cadillac left, that series was done for. They're hanging on by a thread. So, but yeah. So, Ollie's trying to text right now, probably saying, "Yeah, my power went back out." So, that sucks. That really sucks. Yeah. We've been trying to get Ollie on for a few months now. It's been it's been a little bit, because he's with a big team. Let's face it, so you have to go through the right channels. It's not like it used to be before, when it was basically, I mean, we cover a lot of RTI, so we get a lot of RTI drivers, and it's easy to book. But with IndyCar drivers, you have to go through the proper channels. Otherwise, the PR guys, they kind of, they have a job to do, and rightfully so. So you don't want to step on their toes. You wind up, getting the guy from Ganassi mad at you. Just saying. What's his name again?
Doesn't matter. Moving on.
That's why you guys have me. I know things. I know the way things work.
It's like, hey Ed, a head up maybe. A little bit of heads up, Ed.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have hurt, Ed.
One thing I did notice is a lot of the non-essential IndyCar staff has been laid off. So big shout outs to all those people who are not working right now, and hopefully we'll be able to see them all at the track here shortly. It includes the vast majority of the PR team, like Arnie and Kurt Cabin and those guys. So
I mean, I did see Arnie. He was kind of like the guy behind the scenes of the whole iRacing thing, or the e-racing thing. I seen Arnie. So that was cool to see. But he's normally the guy that's in the media center, kind of directing the post race stuff. So and
directing kind of the circus, as they say.
Yeah, and he keeps
kind of the ringmaster.
No, but Missy and I owe a lot to Arnie, so shout out to Arnie. He's a good dude.
Yeah, Arnie is a good guy.
He's like, sorry, yeah, I'm done. Big power outage here. His power's out totally. It hasn't come back on. Because once it starts flickering, it's just a matter of time before that wire snaps.
Oh yeah, it's a time bomb there.
Yeah. So, but as Ollie's from California, right? Or is it Florida?
Florida. Jupiter, Florida.
I thought it was Florida. Yeah.
Home of good massage parlors.
Ollie should be, or I keep saying Ollie. I gotta say Oliver. He's an IndyCar driver. Respect. So Oliver should be used to these.
He's not. Yeah, he's not a kid anymore. He's not in the row.
Well, I met him. He really wasn't a kid when I met him either. But anyway. But he should be used to these power outages, hurricanes and whatnot, in Florida. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jared, any recent news stories that come up that? Oh, by the way, I just want to say, I just saw today, it was released today by David Malsher, and if you guys would like, I will post it, or just Missy, where can they go for the show to see all of our shows that we've had in the past, so they can see where the Bob Varsha show is that me and Bob Varsha had after he yelled at me for an hour for not being on time, but he was kind of wrong while he was in France. When was that?
I'm sorry, what did you want?
Never mind. My point being is, just go to the IndySportsCarPodcast.com, whatever podcast.
No, you didn't say it right.
What do you want me to say?
Go on.
Go ahead.
www.theindysportscarpodcast.com.
Thank you, Missy. So go there, check out me and Bob Varsha having a great interview. Lasted a little bit over an hour, but very interesting man. I mean, as far as American, like I'm, my generation, Jared, your you feel me here. Where when you think of F1, Bob Varsha is our pretty much gateway into the F1 world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so he had just gotten done his final treatments of chemo. He's cancer free, but you know what he's not free of? The coronavirus. He just got tested positive today. So, Bob, Mr. Varsha, Bob, he said, please call me Bob, so I'm allowed to do that. The rest of you, Mr. Varsha, please send your thoughts and prayers out to him. Hopefully he gets better. We all know that this thing loves to really screw up people who have predetermined injuries, and so he's just getting off of chemo. It means your immune system ain't up to par. That's a bit nerve-wracking, to say the least. So I hope Mr. Varsha comes out of this on top. But he's a trooper, and it it was a sad thing to see. I was like, oh no, so, and like seeing it would have been like, but the way Molsher put it, coming off of successful chemo cancer therapy, it was just, So this thing is all over the place. There's a reason why we're seeing it on TV, the e-racing. I wish the memes would stop, because like once it hits your family, it feels a little bit more real. I'm glad my brother's better. So I'm just saying, I'm just saying. So I mean, Jared, I don't know if you knew that or Missy, but I saw that. David also wrote a great story about it earlier today, right around noon. So just want to throw that
I
out there.
did not see that, but I will have to definitely check that out.
I'm sure Missy will link it on the page, one of them, one of our many social media outlets, probably Twitter, more than likely. Excuse me.
I can. I don't know if I did that. I did see the story because it was a couple days ago. I seen that story. It wasn't today. I was like,
okay, let me rephrase. I read it today at noon.
Yeah, I think that story came out a couple days ago. Sorry, Frank. But I did see it a couple days ago.
I've been training a new guy all week. Give me a break. I am spent. I am done. I've been working since Monday morning, so I'm done.
Oh, join the club.
You've been training a new guy? You've been trying to teach a plumber how to do electric? Huh? You know how hard that is?
You want to switch jobs?
No.
Well, then.
Deal with pregnant women all day. I'm just saying. I just want to deal with one eventually. Moving on. So, yeah, but that was just the one story that I saw that I just wanted to, put out there. So, okay, it was a couple days ago. My bad. Jared, what are you doing? If it's a couple days ago, Missy already knows about it, and she just lets me die, crash and burn, and then say she knew about it. She won't stop me in the middle of it. She's like, today, huh, Frank? Let me see how far you take this. Mm-hmm. Keep sounding like an idiot, Frank.
I enjoy it some days,
Yeah, it's fun. Jared, don't be like Missy. I need some backup here.
Well, I mean, I can switch topics here,
Yes.
kind of steer the ship, if you will.
I just wanted to throw out a well wishes, and then
come
to find out.
I mean, there's a member of my girlfriend's family who is currently in the hospital on a ventilator and not the best of shape, and thoughts and prayers are out with her and the whole family, and it's tough, but life, it will get better. Life will move on. We will eventually get back to, for the most part, normal. Some things will never be the same, but we will. Life finds a way, if you will.
Greatest movie ever.
Oh, I actually watched it last night.
Must go faster. Must go faster.
Yes. But yes, to kind of shift gears here back to the iRacing, we didn't cover the Road to Indy had their second race of the Rick Motec Racing Simulator Z Series. They were at Circuit of the Americas, and Felipe Denise once again won the race from pole, led all but a couple laps. They actually instated basically made the race long enough for a mandatory pit stop on the Road to Indy, which is an interesting twist for a lot of these drivers that aren't used to making pit stops.
What series?
The Road to Indy Rick Motec E-Series.
Okay, Road to
hosted,
Indy. Road to Indy is
hosted by Rob Howden.
Yeah, and it's a broad. What is like all three series racing together?
Yes, all three. There were 33 drivers among the three rungs to the Road to Indy are all in this one series. They're all driving the old Star Mazda, Pro Mazda car. And yeah, back-to-back wins now for Philippe Denise. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
How did Hunter do?
Let's see here. I don't see his name on this list.
Well, he sure spent a lot of money then for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I mean,
and I
he
also
dropped
see
a
here
dime, son.
other fan,
not for
friend of the
nothing, but
show, Mr.
I mean, I just wanna
Robert McGinnis.
What?
Mr. Robert McGinnis didn't fare too well either. He finished not so great. But he's Bobo. He will return.
Oh, Bobo! No, that's okay. I still have the video that I'm going to release of him. I don't know what he's doing with the cowboy boy boots on, but hold it over him. Yeah. The other day I was like, dude, you got to come on the next few weeks. I don't know, man. Pretty busy. And then I sent him the video and be like, all right. He goes, all right. Let me know what day. I was like, I will release this.
I love blackmail.
Yeah, I know. I'm blackmail Robert McGinnis to come on. This is ridiculous. But apparently that's funny. That's totally made up, by the way. I did not do that. But he's a funny dude. But yeah, no, I mean, I went back and looked at what Hunter was talking about and what he got. Yeah. So him
got some quality gear.
Boyaka shot. I mean, the shipping alone had to be more than I make a month.
Oh.
And I make bank, son. So
I work for a trucking company. It'd probably be one of those things where I would be better at backing up the whole truck.
Might as well, yeah. Steal the truck and there you go.
Just throw it on the back of the trailer, man.
I don't know if I'd want to get into one of those rigs that move all around. I'd probably get seasick. Like motion sickness.
The ones that I saw, like the Rick Motec website there, they sell a whole bunch of stuff. They even have some of their own, and they have one is two different types of motion. One of them is like Oliver said, a yaw thing where the back end of your seat moves side to side to simulate when the rear end loses grip.
Yeah, but you can feel that in the wheel, though. If you have a good enough
right,
wheel,
yeah, if you're good enough, you can feel it in the wheel, but you can also still feel the front grip and feel the rear grip kind of independently.
Stop yelling.
And the other one they had was it hooks. You actually harness yourself into the seat, and the restraints are hooked up to a motor and pulley, and so like as you accelerate, the belts will tighten to feel you pull back, and as you brake, they'll release so you move forward, and as you turn, it'll like pull one side of it versus the other so that it pulls your body to the side. So I mean, if you're to combine all that, you would get a pretty highly realistic feel to it. I just don't know how much it would actually help your iRacing, given that the two of them together is almost $6,000.
Jesus, that's
yes.
Yeah, like I mean, when I got my Fanatec, whenever it was like 6 years ago, I thought I spent a lot of money on that, and I was like, wow, this is going to put me back a little bit. But good God,
I'd love a Fanatec. I just have a G27.
It's okay. I mean, it's a good starter wheel.
It's okay. Yeah, it's a good starter wheel. I've upgraded the pedals on it, like the brake pedal. I got a nice spring for it, so it's.
Oh, do you?
I see you there, Frank, with the look on your face, and I guarantee you, Missy is used to seeing that look on his face. But yes, I'm a poor when it comes to that kind of stuff.
No, see, I mean, like I don't. I mean, actually, I think my mom got me this for my. No, I bought this. Yeah. Never mind. No, she helped me out to get this because I didn't have exactly enough. Yeah, and my last computer took a crash on me, so I just went out and bought a new one, and the last wheel I had wasn't compatible because it was like Windows Vista or something, and anything above Windows Vista, you were screwed. So yeah. I'm just waiting for the new Windows to come out, and this thing just won't work again. I'm like, no. But I mean, I really do want to get that Fanatec set up where you can detach wheels. Put on the F1 wheel if you want. But
yeah, because Honestly, that's what I want is like an F1, an actual formula kind of wheel.
Yeah.
And something that actually has some real force to it that
Dude,
I actually have to
this
fight.
thing, if you hit the wall at like say 230, like if you're in the IndyCar, if you hit the wall,
I
at the
want
wrong
it to
angle,
rip out
this
of my hands and
this thing
break
will
my
break
wrist
your
like the
wrist.
actual
Yeah.
IndyCar would.
Yeah, like I have this thing dampened down to 3%, so it won't rip my wrist apart. Honestly, like 7%, and this thing's breaking bones. It is insane. All gear driven and everything. You can hear it too, because I could never shut it off because the little start, on/off buttons broke. So I finally got to stay on. I'm like, don't touch it. So it stays on all the time.
Yeah, and one thing we didn't get to mention that Bill Gregory here noticed and we forgot to mention is Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to be racing in IndyCars this weekend. He is. Jimmy Johnson had been repping the NASCAR side the last couple weeks, but Dale Jr. will be competing at MIS this weekend.
By the way,
Dale Jr.
I mean, out of all the NASCAR drivers, I would say he's one of the he's like the only one that doesn't bug me, I guess, is the best way to say it.
He's a good guy.
No,
it'll be interesting.
Because
it'll be interesting to see something because he has no Formula experience whatsoever.
No, because I could watch him race and actually see the racecraft behind what he was doing. Like I could see him. I mean, on a super speedway, I could watch him control each line at his will, when he was in the lead. You know what I mean? And you don't see that too often or anymore at all. So I thought that was pretty amazing that he's able to do that. So I give him credit for that. And that's it. That's about it. And he pretty much couldn't race anything else because he kind of had to follow Dad. He kind of fell into the business, People would have got mad if he would have left. Well, then again, they get mad at anything. But and I heard what is NASCAR's finale Phoenix? Going to be Phoenix now?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Just check out. I think it's the podcast is called. It's the first race. I wouldn't call it a racing podcast because it's a sports podcast, but it's done by a buddy of ours, Phil from North Jersey. I think it's called Fill in the Blank with an exclamation point at the end. So check that out. And he talks sports like he brought me up to date with the NFL and AFC draft or NFC AFC draft because that's not gonna be postponed. They don't care. I don't think any NFL draftee has to worry about this, even if they get it. Let's be honest. So now that might be a blanket statement or an ignorant statement, but how they say whatever. Never mind. Maybe it is an ignorant statement. I don't know because I'm saying because they're all young, they're about the most physically fit people on the face of the earth. So that's why I said that.
Viruses do not discriminate.
Yes, they do. Well, I wouldn't say they don't discriminate, but I'm not going to go through this. So anyway, moving on. But yeah, so check his podcast out. So, but when I was listening to it, I don't even know where I was going with it. Whatever, moving on.
I'm just about out of
where was I going
topic.
with that? Like, what were you talking about? And then I said something, and then I said, oh yeah, Phil was talking about that. Oh right, the NASCAR's final race.
Yes, it is at Phoenix.
Okay, so what a finale, NASCAR. I mean, if NASCAR didn't want to just bury the sport even more, they are doing their darndest to really just have it crumble to the ground. There's only a few bricks left, and they're just. I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah, won't Phoenix West enjoy it?
No. No, he hates racing. You mean my co-host from LIW, the Twilight Zone review. Thank you, Jared.
You had to thank Gregorio for bringing it up.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah.
If you were reading chat, you would see that.
Well, I have my phone on, but it keeps just shutting off. I need to go in the settings, and I just don't have the time because I can't read and do the show at the same time. Because when there's dead air, because not like Missy will pick it up.
Frank can't multitask, so.
No. I can't even listen and read at the same time. Missy, talk about something. I'm checking out.
Are you now?
Yeah, I'm gonna read some stuff. You see, guys, we don't edit. This is what you got. I mean, that's it.
I don't know. I mean, there's not.
It's all e-racing stuff. What are you going to talk about?
You know, I did try to watch it this weekend. I did. I made a valiant effort.
How long did you last?
It's not important. It's not important.
That's not an answer.
It's not important how long I last.
If it was 4 seconds, it's 4 seconds. I haven't watched 1 second of it, and I race it every day. So
I mean, I had it on, right? So that gave them a little bit of, rating, right?
I won't even go that far.
Because I had it on the TV.
Well, here's a story I see at IndyCar.com that Missy might like. Dallara has temporarily converted their factory there in Speedway to, it says here, they're using cutting tables that they used to cut the fibercloth of the race cars, and they're preparing materials for face masks and gowns.
Oh, that's
that
awesome.
is then picked up twice a day, like the Dallara staff's cutting all the materials and stuff, and Stitchworks, company there in downtown Indy, they pick it up twice a day. They sew the material up and deliver it to the hospitals. So it's nice to see even...
Isn't it too late for the people at the hospitals who have it?
What was that?
Or is it for the workers or for patients?
Yeah, for whoever.
Oh,
for,
okay, right. Okay.
It is extra supplies and PPE for the hospitals.
I'm just
so it's great to see Dallara and other people stepping up to help out in this time of need.
It is. Since I know my job, they told us because everybody's making their own mask, I guess these days.
I'm making one.
My job, they told us no, you can't have your own mask to wear.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Apparently, the governor of this fine state, on Friday, if you leave your house, you must have a mask on now. So you know what my mask is going to have on the front of it? 1984. Yep. And Missy goes, why? You were born in 83. And I just went, do you know why, Jared? I would put 1984 on my mask. Do you know why?
Probably some Twilight Zone reference.
Ha.
Oh my God.
See? He didn't know either.
What is wrong with you people?
Apparently it's a book, Jared.
Yeah, and I mean, it's either that or it's 1984 Space Odyssey. So.
No, that's 2001. You're still wrong.
2000. I'm still way off. I don't know.
Have you ever heard of an Orwellian society?
Oh, Greg knows
I
it
have
was.
not. Yes, 1984 is a book.
Thank you, Greg. I knew he'd read it because he's actually educated.
Oh, and I was also told, do you guys know that Will Power won the Open Wheel 250 last Friday night? Some big I race that I think Joseph Newgarden put on. But Will got a win.
I do know one IndyCar driver that absolutely despises this.
Oh, I mean, have you seen his mustache? If his mustache alone,
dude,
he's proof enough that he doesn't give a crap about
dude. I was talking to Damien Power. I tweeted it after he posted. I was talking to Damien Power. He named it Mervin the Mustache. I'm not joking. Will Power named his mustache Mervin. Mervin the Mustache. I was talking to Damien about it.
You're a liar.
Damien told me. Would Damien, his comedic brother, lie to me?
Quite possibly, yes.
He's a comedian, so.
Mervin? I don't know if I like Mervin the Mustache.
It rhymes.
Maybe it could be Murray. Murray
the Mustache, maybe.
Murray the Mustache, yeah. That's what I'm going to call it. Murray. Murray got a victory.
It's going to be hilarious how fast
Murray
it
also.
season started.
Oh, yeah. Texas, gone.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna be put you night and day, instantaneous.
Yeah.
No, actually, the
I
first
was
day he
not
has to
talking about
report to the
willpower, though.
shop.
I was
It'll
not
be
talking
gone.
about willpower. Yeah, I mean, Will's made his feelings absolutely known about this whole thing. He's just,
Well, yeah.
hanging in there with it.
Poor Liz, though. I can't imagine having to like look at that.
She's got to kiss that.
I know she actually has
Yeah.
to get close to it, and that's unfortunate.
Depending on what you mean by close, maybe she might like it.
Yeah, I
Murray
wouldn't.
the mustache came in second place in the Alabama, whatever it's called, iRacing Challenge. Barber.
Oh, you did not get that, Jared?
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
But Missy tried to divert back to the iRacing, which will finish second to Team Penske teammate Scott McLaughlin.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to make the really horrible joke. I just couldn't help myself. The surprise there, right?
It's too easy.
That's why I went for it. Dude, I will grab low hanging fruit all the time.
I forgot Frank is quite easy.
Yeah.
I have come up with a better name for his mustache. Murray.
I like Mervin.
I don't like Mervin.
I see Will's mustache. I immediately think Mervin mustache. I'm just saying. Mervin the mustache. It rhymes. It's Mervin. It's a weird name.
Yeah.
Will's a weird guy. It fits.
I like Murray.
That's because Carl has.
I know.
Yeah, it's because of Carl's mustache. Because we have a friend Carl who's a state trooper, and he gets to grow the mustache. He named his mustache Murray the mustache. That's him. Like, we didn't name it. He did. Because he's a lunatic.
Yes, you wouldn't believe how many times I've gotten into a fight with Murray.
Yeah.
The mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure. Till I realized, like, oh, wait, I'm
My
arguing with the
lunatic-
mustache. I can't.
My lunatic state trooper friend texts her as his mustache. I don't know how to take that, but it's the truth.
Oh, yeah, that's a good name for his mustache. Mo Power.
Mo Power mustache?
Mo Power.
Mo the mustache? So it would be Mo Power?
Mo the
Mervin
stash.
Mo the mustache or Mo Power, for formal events. I kind of like that, actually. Okay, Greg, fair enough.
Oh, power for willpower.
I like the hot mic. See, audience contributions. There you go, Greg. Good job, Gregorio.
Yes, it is nice having an audience here to chat with.
I miss my iPad. If I had my iPad, I could set it up there. But no, it's in pieces on a UPS truck someplace. So whatever. Anyway, all right. So they pushed it back to Texas. They canceled Detroit, and they're going to have a doubleheader at the road course at IMS at the end of the season. So.
Yep. Yeah. Plus, there's still a TBA rescheduling date for St. Pete.
Yeah, they're holding on to that pipe dream.
Yeah, and it will be interesting. The Iowa doubleheader is a Friday-Saturday race.
Yeah, you hear that, Missy, so now there is a reason for us to go back to Iowa one more year. It isn't a tempting now, because now...
No,
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's really not.
It really is.
It's still a 18-hour drive.
Yeah, but
so
not for just
no.
one race and go home. Now it's 3 days. It's, qualifying,
See if you
race.
can hitch a ride with somebody and just fly in and land at the airport that's right next door to the track.
Fly?
That's when you know you're baller, when you can actually fly into Newton.
Well, book your flight now. They're cheap.
Yes.
Just saying. My boss literally asked me, "Can you fly down to Florida, bring me the paperwork because it's cheaper than FedEx?" And I'm like, "What? And stay with you for the next 14 days? Because they're no, no."
And one thing I have been hearing is don't be surprised if Toronto gets canceled, because they've already canceled like anything up in Montreal for months.
Canada's not really that hard hit, to be honest with you. Are they?
No.
But then again, a small number.
I think a couple of Moose caught it or something.
I wonder how. Well, I don't want to think about it. Those Canadians. Get it?
Yes, I get it.
I'm on fire. Oh my goodness. See,
Heard what I said.
yeah, with that they. Hey, Mithy.
No. Don't even start that.
Oh my god.
Now people will see when I hit you upside your head.
They already, yeah. What do you mean? They already did. You already done it.
You deserve that.
So, it's funny. It was worth it.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. You know, I just didn't have anything planned to talk about because we planned to have Oliver talk more than us tonight. So, well, at least he came on though, so I didn't look foolish because I really hate like posting things that we didn't do yet. But you know, doing the live thing, posting Ollie out there, you know. So I took a gamble. I'm glad he came on. But I mean, Oliver's always been a stand-up guy.
So what's the next race?
Texas.
Not there. No.
No, the next iRace is this Saturday, Michigan.
No, it's Gateway at like around
No,
10:15 for me. Yep.
Are they?
Yeah,
I guess they're not
it's-
televising it again, right?
No, it
Is
is.
it?
It
I was
is
gonna
it?
say I don't think it was.
Everything
on
I've
the
heard,
phone.
it's
No,
televised again.
Yeah, no, they're keeping it going. You kidding? The ratings that they got off of it is insane.
Like I said, I'll
mean,
put it on my
they-
TV. I can't promise I'll watch it though.
Well, I'll be hot micing it from
There you go.
either my work or right here again.
Also,
But
Jared.
probably my work because they have cable there.
Also, Jared. These streams will be going up on a dedicated YouTube page, right?
Yep, YouTube page. I just started the Indie Sports Car Podcast YouTube page today. Kind of retrofitted my old one or something over to that, and
Oh, didn't we have a
it's
YouTube page?
probably tomorrow. This will be uploaded to the YouTube page.
All right. Well, see, that works because the live stream will go up on your YouTube page, and the podcast goes up on my YouTube page, even though it's called Way Off Topic Radio. But
Yeah.
I need to change it back because Scott made a different YouTube page that's Way Off Topic Radio because we do that live on Saturday nights. So I need to change it. I don't know what I'm doing with my YouTube page. I just need to change the name completely. But yeah, it's because I pay for Amazon or YouTube Red, so and it's the email that I used off the bat. I really need to change that. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, I'm on motorsport.com, and it's just so hard to grab any kind of content other than esports. And I know a lot of people are into it, and I know a lot of, you know, like Mike is kind of organizing different different events for the fans to join up, and that's cool. I think he even started a podcast, an esports podcast, which is that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's really good that Mike really took to the podcasting like a fish in water.
Yeah, I mean, and it's your job. I mean, the one thing about his working from home is he was working from home. Is podcasting you do from home. So this hasn't really affected him much other than there's no actual real racing. But it's cool to see him adapt to the times and find a way to kind of jump and keep on it. Good for him.
Pretty much he took IndyCar's lead. You know, IndyCar did everything they could to keep people's attention still on IndyCar no matter what. Best of situations. So he was like, well, I'm going to do the same thing for the fans, create as much content for them as I can. And, you know,
I've been asking for this for years.
You have?
Yeah. When I first started writing at iRacing, I originally wanted to get them to put Belle Isle on iRacing, which did end up happening, but unrelated to anything I ever did. But
I was gonna say,
but to be able to see, because like they have NASCAR series on there and all sorts of stuff, and for them to have an actual official iRacing series that has real drivers in it is something good that people can see. Hopefully, it'll be something that in the off season in the future that you'll see kind of an uptick in more drivers doing it to kind of keep it relevant during the otherwise lengthy off season.
Yeah. Right on. Well, okay, so I'll end it here. You mentioned Bubba Wallace. I do know a bit about this story thanks to David Land. if you want to go listen to his take on iRacing, it's controversial as usual. I wouldn't call him a charlatan for it because I see his point, and he did say a lot of good things in the beginning before he kind of went after a few things of it, which is fine. You can't expect iRacing to all of a sudden like revamp their entire, system just to accommodate this type of format that they're not used to doing for the last 20 freaking years almost. So step off of iRacing a bit, Dave, but it's fine. But the Bubba Wallace thing. Rage quitting, we've all done it if you do iRace. If you're a professional driver, though, and you're sponsored by Blue Emu, which is a hysterical sponsor, by the way. Blue Emus. They live home where there's in Australia, home of the upside down Whopper. Anyway, so what Blue Emu said, or how they reacted to it, they should have just let it go. Jared, what do you think?
This
Now, Blue Emu paid him to race that car in that race.
Yeah, I mean,
they paid
to lose
him.
a real life sponsorship over it. Yeah,
That's a bit much.
They paid money for him to compete, and I don't know if they were giving them fast repairs or not.
He already.
In the
Bubba
IndyCar
Wallace
race, you
used
get
up his 2 already. It was the 3rd time he got wrecked in that one race, and he goes, "You guys, I already used up my my 2 quick repairs. I'm done. I'm out of this race. I'm wrecked. This is ridiculous. I'm out. Gone."
I mean, and I get it too that it did appear that he was intentionally wrecked by Clint Boyer.
Oh, he was.
Who was upset
I saw the replay.
over a move like
I
a
saw
couple
the replay,
corners
man.
before.
Clint Boyer held his line, and as
Oh,
soon as he was just bump.
He turned his
was
wheel
so
dead
obvious.
right.
Yeah, I mean,
into him.
you because you can select different camera angles. If you went into the cockpit angle, you see the wheel go.
You can see the wheel go.
You
just,
really,
yeah,
You're
turn
supposed
hard
to be turning
right.
left all the time, guys. You're not. When you go right, that's intentional takeout. I don't care what you say.
and so it basically exposed the inherent flaw of the whole sim racing thing, to where if these drivers who are cup drivers don't take it seriously as if they were in the real car themselves, it's only going to influence the product and make the racing suck.
Well,
even more than it would have if it were real.
And here's the thing, though. I don't ever race NASCAR and iRacing because they suck. They don't know what racecraft is. They don't know it happens all the time. Even in A class, it happens all the time. You get wrecked all the time. If you want to lose your license, like if you want to go from an A license to a D license in 1 week, race NASCAR, nothing but NASCAR all week. You'll get there. You want to climb your license, race IndyCar. You hardly ever get wrecked out on purpose, and if you do, and it's an accident, you still get a sorry. On NASCAR, people are cursing each other out. There is no respect. There's no common respect at all, and it's amazing how like on iRacing, and yes, it's a sim. I get it, but it just goes to show you the type of fan that gravitates towards the type of racing when you go to iRacing, right? And I don't need to say more than that.
Yeah,
Jared,
if
you
you
exactly
treat it like it's real, then you're gonna act and behave in there as if it was real. I can guarantee you that if that was a real life race and Clint Boyer turned right directly into him, he would get his ass reamed by his owner, the crew, everybody, because that's not the way you treat those cars. But since it's a fake car on a fake track and there's no real consequences, he felt slighted. He got mad, so I'm just gonna take him out. And you wouldn't see that necessarily in real life, because there would be real consequences to that type of action.
Well, yeah,
Before or after the fists were thrown in real life.
Right, and that's the
I could
thing.
just
You would
picture this
actually
after
end
the
up
race,
with that.
you know, face to face, a fist fight. It happens
Yeah.
all the time with them.
Oh, I can guarantee you, if they were in the all in different simulator cockpits in the same room, there would have been a fist fight.
Oh yeah.
That would have been the camera angle I'd want to see. Just show me the room with all the drivers in their cockpits there, so I can see them throw down for real because someone cut them off on a fake racetrack.
I wonder how many NASCAR drivers are iRacing with a controller.
There's got to be at least
It's got to be like half of them.
Got to be some truck series driver who's just scraping by the
Yo, honey,
by
get my
the
PS3
shoestring
controller out the
budget.
cabinet.
I got me a Xbox controller.
Xbox 360.
Can I use that?
I got me a Sega Genesis. Will this work? I hate that accent. All right. So but good luck to Ollie in the upcoming season. It's really cool that he's got 2 engineers and not just one like everyone else.
Yeah, it's a big adjustment from having to communicate and just relay between one guy. Now you got a team of guys that you got to learn how to speak to each of them, how each one of them reads and interprets every different thing, and it's a lot to process. So that's from what I've heard is probably the hardest learning curve. Going from road to IndyCar is just the amount of information that's thrown at you, and the amount of people that you have to interact with and interpret all of that data.
Yeah. So that was a good question that you asked him about the spotter, because a spotter can pick any angle he wants. He can be in the blimp if he wants.
Right. Yeah. And that's I had a feeling with it being an oval like that, and these guys, they have spotters, and these spotters are just like them, sitting at home doing nothing. I had a feeling that they would have game planned something like that.
Eric Filigaris would throw down with you right now, sir. Just saying.
Well,
it's okay. It's old friend from the show. Greg knows him.
My apologies.
He won.
I didn't know. I'm like Frank. I don't know.
He won
nothing.
Best Hair of MRTI back in 2015.
Ooh.
Yeah. Eric Filigaris.
Best. Okay, so but the real question is best post-race hair.
Eric Filigaris. It's like,
because I mean it's
dude,
impressive the length.
No, see, Eric's helmet was form fitted to his hair, so
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, because you see the amount of like an Elio who just throws on an entire jar of gel every morning, and he takes that headstock off and his helmet, and it looks like he never even did anything. Like he just got out of the shower and put in all that hair gel. It's crazy.
Yeah, and would you like to know his secret? It's bedheads.
I would.
Bedheads. That's it. That's all he uses. Bedheads. Everybody thinks he has this big, purse of hair products because it looks so good. And Elio's laughing. He's like, I don't know why everybody. It's just bedheads. But he says it bedheads. 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 What's it called? Bedheads. Bedheads. Yeah, that's all it is, guys. Bedheads. I wake up in the morning. I put bedheads in. I swear to God, I said that because Dario asked him.
Leo.
Yeah, because Dario asked him that during some sort of ceremony. You remember that? It was like 2 years ago. Where Dario hosted some sort of ceremony for Elio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely have to have Oliver back on the show, especially come the month of May when he gets to team up with Fernando Alonso. So that will be a.
You mean August? The month of August this year.
I'm
so far.
It's wishful thinking.
Is it August yet?
Yes, is it August yet?
Hashtag is it November yet?
Don't talk like that.
I know some people don't want to hear that, and it sucks.
I mean,
neither do I, but it'd be really cool if there was a race on my birthday weekend. That'd be great. Just
October
saying.
30th in a race. I don't think
Just
that
saying.
the drivers would like that.
Yeah, I would.
Might be a bit brisk.
I would like it.
I mean, I know it gets hot in the car, and when it's like hot out, it's even worse.
Oh,
So-
they're gonna love. Well, they're gonna love that October race with that aero screen because it's that much hotter in the car.
That's true. Like, and that was the one question I wanted to ask. Like, you know, you didn't get a whole lot to test through the aero screen, but you got a little bit, and you're coming off of Indy Lights. Plus, the one great thing about iRacing is anything that changes with any of the series that they do stay in, you know, constant goose step with. They change, the specs right away,
Yeah.
And now you go to iRacing, you'll see the aero screen, so you'll get to see the insane perspective from it. And it took me like a good 2 races to get used to it. How about you, Jared?
It's definitely an adjustment, especially on an oval.
Yeah. Like, I keep thinking I'm turning too much, so then I don't turn enough, and then I have to correct it, and then I just go right around. Like, it's really odd. Everything's like looking through like I don't know, like a water effect, like
Yeah,
it's
it's got a
weird.
little bit of distortion there.
Like an aquarium. Like, that fish is not that big, or maybe he is. I just don't know. But anyway, all right. So, was there anything
Missy,
else? Yeah, Missy. Final thoughts?
Missy got anything left? Otherwise, there's just one thing left.
Hit it.
Now on that note, you know that I know that, well, Frank's, he still never knows. Jared, he might know. I gotta get to know him a little more, I guess. But we all know Ollie is in IndyCar now,
Called it.